Podcast. Coming at you a little later than we normally do, catching us after hours. Although there would really be no way for you to know that because it's not like we do this live.
Yeah, we film, we record, we don't film any of it.
We also film it all just for our own personal archives.
We don't upload that. We start recording usually at 5 a.m., but we got a late start today, so we're coming at you at 7 a.m.
So yeah, welcome. Hello, David.
Hey, Frank, how are you?
Good. Nice to see you there at the other side of this tiny table.
It's nice to see you. We just saw each other in the other room, and then we walked in here to record a podcast, so it's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I missed
you.
Yeah, it has been. Today, we have a couple of curveballs, if you would. We're going to do our first set of movie reviews, and we kind of didn't intend to do 3. I don't think that was like, hey, we need to keep the 3 number going, but we just so happened to watch like 2 movies this weekend together, and then we've been wanting to review Alien Covenant for a while, and Frank finally got a chance to check that out. So
finally did my homework. I asked for an extension.
Some homework. So why don't we kick it up with Alien Covenant? Let's talk about a little bit about the movie. Maybe just I don't know how you want to start these reviews. If you just want to go like overall impressions or what did you think, Frank?
Yeah,
did you enjoy it? Or?
I was kind of just thinking, I don't know, we'd be a little bit more conversational in this one, not so much a back and forth. Well, it's
so first let's talk about cinematography. Go ahead, talk about
cinematography. So yeah, I really wanted to like Alien, so that I just like wanted an opportunity to disagree with you super hard. Okay. And I already knew you didn't like it, so I was just going into it just like trying to be as positive as I could. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I don't know. It felt like they tried to go with more of a horror movie, which I feel like the old Alien movies definitely feel like.
Yeah.
I was trying to like list compliments in my head while I was watching it, and I was like, oh, most of the CGI looks pretty good, but then there's some really bad CGI scenes, like especially a lot of the fast movement.
It's weird.
Yeah,
some of it just looks wonky. I think. And you bring up a good point. The movie's tone, especially the second half of it, I think, feel more like an Alien movie. Mm-hmm. The first half does feel more Prometheus.
Yeah, definitely.
And it feels more Prometheus because it's the same movie as Prometheus. Like, once they land
just
on that
with more
planet,
Alien.
It's beat for beat Prometheus. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I really didn't enjoy this movie that much. And I think maybe I'm being too harsh on it. It's not like a disaster, but I just think it's very uninspired.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Nothing really grabbed me. I was never like scared, or I never felt like there was a whole lot of drama going on. There were like, well, I guess spoiler alert. I mean, if you haven't seen it after I've already seen it, then you've been slacking, because I really slacked to getting around to watching this thing.
So spoiler alerts are... Well, should we talk about stuff not spoilers, or should we just... I just don't want to...
Well, you know what? Mine's in the previews anyways, just like the...
okay.
Yeah, when...
I mean, the whole movie's in the previews.
When they finally drag this guy back into the medical bay and his back's like exploding and stuff. But that's like, I don't know. It's a cheap scare almost.
And the other thing, too, I mean... I'm kind of making a big deal out of spoilers, but if you've seen any Alien movie, literally any of them, you know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, and here's like the big spoiler, I guess, because who cares? You know, we're just going to talk spoilers. The movie ends with this one alien being on the ship, and it gets ejected out of like the ship, like into space.
Well, that's how you get rid of aliens on your spaceship.
That's how you do it, man. You can't get rid of them any other way. It's ridiculous. I did have one thing in particular that irked me from the beginning of the movie, starting off.
Hit me with it.
So the setup of the movie is that they're a group of scientists, and I guess a lot of people might have missed it unless you're paying really close attention. They released a trailer that was really like a prologue to the movie, and it was like 10 minutes long, and it set up the cast of the movie, and you can watch it on YouTube. And it's like, I mean, I saw it before the movie was coming out because I was pretty excited to see the movie. And basically it tells you that all the people on the ship who aren't in cryosleep, like the actual like crew of the ship, they're all couples. Because they're going to this planet to repopulate it.
Yeah, it's a colonization mission.
Yeah. So they're all couples who just happen to be scientists, which, you know what? I'll give you a pass, Alien. I'll give you a pass right now. It's okay.
Well, and at that point in time, they already have like a dating app specifically for scientists.
Tinder scientist
Yeah,
edition.
like right now they have one for farmers, and then in the future, I mean, they have them for scientists.
I mean, I guess I could see that. Well, so they're on this ship, and they're all together. And the movie opens up with James Franco burning to death, which is probably the biggest positive of the movie. They kind of hit you right out of the gate with these like intense emotions, and then there was like a solar storm or something that caused the ship to have them wake up, and it caused James Franco to get like fried in his little sleeping capsule.
Yeah, they got blasted with some solar flares.
Yeah, something like that. And okay, so then they're going on their way to this planet that they've been traveling in cryosleep to get to repopulate, or not repopulate, but to basically save mankind, to be like, you know, the first of a new settlement. And they get woken up because it was some unknown thing that even the android's like, hey, I couldn't have detected it. It just happened. Like, there's really no way to tell if it's going to happen again. And then it's like, okay, we could go back to sleep for 7.5 years. Or we could just land on this planet that we just picked up right now. Like, it just so happens we picked up a planet and we did one scan of it with our computer, and it seems like it's going to be a better choice than the planet that we've been studying for, like, decades.
Well, he, like, gets pressured into it because everybody else is so psyched and everybody had just died.
Yeah, well...
So they even have the conversation. One of the other crew members tells him, like, oh, come on, you, like... I think he's having the conversation with his wife, and she's like, these people aren't just, like, your shipmates. Like, they're going to be your neighbors.
Yeah.
She's like, you have to, like...
That's how they kind of put the pressure on, because... It's supposed
Peer pressure,
to be,
dude.
It's supposed to be James Franco was the captain.
Yeah.
And now Billy Crudup is the captain of the ship. And
you'd think the captain would be better at getting out of his like sleep tube.
Yeah, you think so, right? Billy Crudup is like he's kind of in a tough spot, and he wants to like make a stand and say, no, we need to check this planet out. All I'm saying is, if I was a scientist in that situation and I realized it was like thousands of people in my cargo hold, I'll just stay awake for 7.5 years. It's like
you can get a lot of stuff done in 7.5 years.
We're staying up for 7.5 years just to make sure we don't compromise this mission. But you can't tell me that scientists in this position would be like, let's just land on this planet. Let's just figure it out. And then from there, the science in the movie makes no sense. They like go to this planet. There's this intense storm. Instead of waiting, who knows, days, maybe weeks, even if it's a month, it's still like an unforgivable movie error. They could have just like waited, then landed on the planet. It was clear.
No, you gotta go in, just like balls to the walls, man.
It's just so ridiculous.
The thing people forget about science is sometimes science is more art than science.
Shout out to our baking conversation from the first episode. The baking is more art than science. If you haven't received your cake, it's because no one actually offered to taste it, our mail cake, but we can get that back up and running.
We didn't get any addresses, so no cake.
No cake for you. But so they land on this planet, and then they're like, oh, we don't need helmets. They don't even use helmets.
No.
They like
helmets are for chumps, David.
In Prometheus, there was the scene
They're
of them like,
pioneers.
with helmets.
Pioneers didn't wear helmets.
That's exactly that's like my point, though. You know what I mean? It's like any basic understanding of history would tell you you're going to a new place. There's a ton of like bacteria and things that are going to murder you.
Some things, it's a hostile environment off the get-go.
Yeah, it is. The movie really picks up and I don't know. I mean, another thing too is you kind of see this Prometheus homeworld. You see where these engineers came from, the big tall guys from Prometheus, which is
the Uncle Festers, the tall Uncle Festers.
The tall Uncle Festers. It's cool to see that, and it's actually I appreciated them bringing that part of the story, kind of wrapping up a little bit. But to me, I just didn't like the aesthetic of the city. Whereas, like, all of old Alien had that H.R. Giger, I'm probably butchering his name. But it's such a specific art style. You know what I mean? Even Alien versus Predator kind of, like, nailed it in a weird way.
Yeah.
But this town just seemed like, here's a Roman Colosseum or something. I don't know. It just didn't even seem to fit in Alien.
It was a pretty lame of a town.
Right.
It was like they called it in on the town design.
It doesn't even match, like, the ship. It shows the ship landing in that one scene, and they're, like, decimating all those people. But, I don't know. Do you have any complaints? Do you have any positives for this movie?
I kept trying to like keep a list of positives. The science was like one of those things. I really liked the what do they call them? The charging sails, where that like catches the solar energy.
That was
and
really
then
cool. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, cool, like number one on my list. And then nothing else really happened after that. That I was like, whoa, that science is awesome. So that was kind of lame. No, yeah, I don't have a ton of positives. It was all right.
What did you think about Michael Fassbender?
I liked there were two Michael Fassbenders.
Yeah, that was I honestly didn't see that.
We
coming.
did like the Parent Trap thing.
Yeah,
That was super cool. I like that the robots were different generations. That was really cool. Give them a little bit of different personality that way. They were running on different OSs.
yeah. It was like iPhone 4 against iPhone 7.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. It was cool seeing David come back, and he's all crazy.
To me, he was the star of the movie. That was when I was most interested.
Well, I feel like time-wise too, most of the story was based around him.
Especially when they get there in the city and they start talking, they're like kind of discussing the nature of man, which some people criticize Prometheus for being too like, I don't know, not preachy, but like too like crazy philosophical. That's the part of the movie I thought kind of worked. And to me, that's the redeeming quality of Alien Covenant, is some of the, creationist stuff is kind of cool to think about.
And that's kind of the stuff I was looking forward to, like
Yeah.
after Prometheus. I was, but I don't know if I got as much as I was looking for. I don't know.
No, I mean, well, the whole second half of the movie is just like, oh, here's Alien again.
Yeah.
Here's these two teenagers
Oh, we're getting closer to the xenomorph. Closer
banging
to
in the
xenomorph.
barn. You know what? The sex scene thing was ridiculous too in the shower. It was
did
just
feel weird with the tail sneaking up all creepy.
I was like, oh my gosh, here we go.
It was a bit gratuitous.
I did just want to clarify two things real quick, and we can move on from Alien if you're down. It's up to you.
Clarify them, David.
First off, I'm anticipating people maybe listening to this review and being like, oh, well, sci-fi movies don't have to be accurate all the time to be good movies. Because I love Star Wars, for instance. Star Wars has a bunch of science that doesn't make sense. A majority of the science doesn't make sense in Star Wars. But the difference between the two movies is Star Wars is set in the universe of like fantasy and space.
Yes.
And in the Star Wars universe, there are rules that apply, and Star Wars applies by those rules.
The science makes sense for the universe.
Yeah. Whereas in Alien, it's always been something grounded in reality. Where like the first Alien, it's like a crew of people on a ship, and it's how they would actually act if something were to happen. And the technology is all like realistic. It's supposed to be like all these old like, like giant tube TV monitors and stuff, which is cool, which is really charming about Alien. But when you have a movie with scientists and they're trying to play it straight, like they're scientific scientists, and then they're just acting like,
as opposed to unscientific scientists.
well, I just mean like, I watched like The Core or something. Okay, I'll give them a pass for being a stupid movie, because it's just like this is like schlocky schlock for the sake of being schlock. But Alien is like trying to take itself seriously, and I think that's where it falls apart. The other thing too,
yeah, it got stuck in between a serious movie and like a B horror film.
right? And it feels like it doesn't have an identity. Even in the pacing in the movie, it just feels like, what's happening here? We were having a conversation with Danny, who's our guest on the last podcast. And
The last one we did.
the last podcast we did. He's on the other side of this fence, and I kind of wish we could have brought him back, but it was kind of like, it's a lot more work than it seems like. We need to do more when he comes into town, I guess. I don't know. Not that it's
Just
a lot
like
of
save
work,
up
but
a
we're
bunch
like
of Danny episodes.
incredibly late. Yeah, and then like sparse them out or something. Danny was just saying that you need to watch the movie because it's like visually interesting. That's what he was like, his because we had a little conversation online about it, and that was like his justification for watching it in theaters. But to me, it's like every other movie is just over the top CGI. You know, like you could make that argument about like almost 70% of movies that come out today.
Yeah, at this day and age, most of the movies, the least you could say about them is like,
Yeah.
it better at least be visually pleasing, because the technology is just at that point where it's like, yeah, I mean,
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it
a
looked
given.
good. It's 2017.
It better look good,
Yeah.
right? It's like a giant budget movie. From
Yeah, I paid like $10
franchise.
to see this movie. It better look good.
Right? This popcorn was like $7. I need a good looking movie. I don't know. So if you're thinking about Alien, I would. Here's my recommendation. Wait for it to come out on Netflix. If you really want to watch
but
it.
I was glad that I at least saw it in theaters. I couldn't. I feel like I didn't have the option.
You went to theaters. I
Yeah,
didn't know
I did.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to a physical building and sat down in a chair. Ooh.
Wow.
The most entertaining part about watching Alien actually was I got there when the previews had already started, and the only people in the theater was myself. I think like row 6, and then two ladies sitting 2 to 3 rows in front of me. And when I got there, there was so much time in between each preview that the theater was very dark when I walked in. I had to like wait and see what was going on before I could walk in, because I didn't want to just like eat it and just hurt myself.
Yeah, very possible.
Yeah. So likely for me to just do that. So I finally find my seat, and the movie's getting closer to starting. A couple of previews go by, and it's another dark part. And I hear somebody get out of their chair, and I hear some fumbling, and then just the sound of body parts smacking the ground. And I just like stayed still for a second.
Oh my god.
And then I heard laughing, and I was like, okay, good, I can laugh too. Everybody's fine. It was so beautiful. I didn't get to see any of it, but I heard it all so clearly.
So literally
it was so
what you were
quiet and so dark.
anticipating,
Yeah.
that's
What
amazing.
I was avoiding,
Wow.
I at least got to see play out in front of me.
Yeah, or hear it anyways.
Yeah.
That does sound like a good time.
It was
I wish
nice.
that happened when I watched the
I had a
movie.
good laugh to myself.
This is like a totally random thing, but I watched the movie. For those of you who haven't like caught on to it, for the listeners who maybe don't know who I am personally, I'm soon to be a music teacher. And at my school, at the university I went to, which I just graduated from, we had a student group about string teachers, and we kind of just made it a outing for the string teacher group to go watch Alien Covenant because we just wanted to see a movie. If you're like a classical music fan, there's a ton of cool music stuff in this movie. It's really weird. There's a bunch of like Wagner references, and there's like this whole thing with the flute, and they're talking about embouchure. It's like really interesting. It's just kind of nerdy in a weird way. But I don't know.
I know that goes back to it being mostly about David, because it starts off with David.
It does, yeah.
It's a whole bunch of David in the middle, David throughout.
He's
and it
arguably
ends
the
with
main
David.
character. Yeah, I'd say so. Which makes the Ripley knockoff number 2 seem kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, you want to move on? You want to talk about
Yeah.
Boyhood?
Yeah, I don't have too much else to say about
I mean, I don't think there is much else to say.
Yeah. I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
I didn't get too excited, honestly.
Yeah, I got more excited, I think. I was like honestly let down when I left because I was pretty pumped for it. I enjoyed Prometheus.
I was let down to not being able to come and argue with you. I was really hoping that I was going to love it.
Yeah.
Just so I could get to be like, you're an idiot.
Nah. It's just the
You
movie.
don't know things.
It's just the movie that's an idiot, so joke's on you.
Idiot. All right. So, yeah. We weren't the most current on that movie review. We didn't strike the iron while it was super hot. So it's only fitting so that our next review, we strike an even colder iron, David.
Oh, yeah.
It only makes sense to me that we do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we can do modern reviews, which would be cool. And in the future, if we do a movie that's in theaters, hopefully we'll finish the review before it's out of theaters.
In the future, like, we review a movie that's not even out yet.
Yeah.
Because that would be...
most productive.
Yeah, really. By the time we got around to editing it, because like we're recording this review now and it's already late, but by the time we get around to releasing it,
Yeah.
yeah.
When I was thinking about it earlier, and I was like, okay, I couldn't, even if I liked the movie, I couldn't suggest for people to go check it out in theaters because it won't be in theaters by the time we get it posted online.
Right.
It's just the truth. We're sorry. We're trying our hardest. Not really. We're kind of.
I was gonna say I was gonna apologize. I didn't try that hard.
Nah, I didn't try that hard either.
That's good. At least we're on the same page.
It was Danny's fault. Let's blame Danny.
Good job, dude.
Good job, man.
Next movie, David.
Yeah.
Wow.
nice.
Excuse me.
That was pretty.
I think I have another one too. Oh, that one not so pretty. That was weak.
Gross.
Sorry. Boyhood. We recently watched Boyhood together, David.
Yeah, we did.
This
I was
weekend.
there.
Was it Monday? No, it
No,
was this weekend, right?
It was like
Sunday?
Sunday, because we watched the other movie Saturday, which we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll get there. Hold your horses.
Yeah, slow down. What you think about Boyhood?
I also didn't hate it.
I enjoyed Boyhood more than Alien, I think.
Yeah, there were enjoyable parts. I've thought about it more. I thought about it more. My initial reaction was, no, I really liked it. It was nice. It was entertaining. It was heartwarming. It was touching. And then the excitement just kind of faded away over the last couple of days. Yeah, it just like wasn't super great. It was this whole project that was supposed to take 12 years to make.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard about that.
And I hadn't heard
They were
about
really
it being
shy
12
about
years.
talking about that fact of the movie when it was coming out. But yeah, it wasn't like a huge thing. Michelle even commented somewhere towards the beginning that she felt like we were moving along very quickly. And it does seem that way. But not so much to where at the end of the movie it felt long. You know what I mean? Like some movies are long and you don't notice how slowly the time's going by, but I really felt the length on this one. I
felt the length in the last like 40 minutes. And to put it in perspective, the movie's like, I think 2 hours and 40 minutes actually. It's a pretty long, 2 hours and 45. The first part of the movie, it's
165 minutes.
How long? How old is the kid? Like 9 or something?
8.
He's really
6?
young. Maybe 7, because it took 12 years, and he's probably
like 18 or 19 when they go out.
So he's probably 6.
Yeah,
6 or 7.
I believe he's 6 when they start.
This is semantics, but
well, if you'd ask the little kid at that time, he'd tell you like 6 and 4 months or whatever. He'd be really specific about it.
He would be really. That's true, actually. That backs it up. The movie at the beginning kind of goes at a quick pace. Like he's 6, and then all of a sudden he's 7, and then the next thing he's 8. And it's like it keeps going.
It's like, wow, this kid must have sucked as an actor because they cut a whole bunch of this little kid stuff out.
Well, he gets to like 17, and then it just is like forever. I feel like the last like third of the movie it just feels long.
Don't those ages really kind of seem like forever though?
It kind of does. And okay, so this kind of gets into like the crux of how I feel about the movie. Because I think a big criticism of it is that it has no plot and that it's just kind of like rambling and through life. But I feel like every criticism you could make is just like, well, that's how life is.
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, that's how life is,
Yeah, and it's the same thing. When you get older, like you look back on your early years and it's like, oh, I just flew by.
That wasn't such a big deal.
No, it really doesn't.
And that's one of the things that I did like about it. A lot of the scenes did feel genuine. They felt like conversations that I'd had or heard before.
Yeah. I took a note of that too, actually. I was trying to like put down some points before we started this convo, and it's like
just wanted to go off the cuff. I wanted to be unresearched and unprepared for two segments. Will be soon.
I thought the dialogue was just like really funny, especially to put it into perspective. I mean, this kid is probably like 2 or 3 years younger than we are.
Yeah.
Like in the timeline of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's why it resonated with myself a little bit more.
Yeah. I feel like I could, I don't know, like 30 years from now, if I have some children, they're like, hey, what was it like growing up in, the 2000s? I could literally show them Boyhood.
Well, are you doing anything today? Because it's going to take a minute. Like, did you guys already do your homework?
Movie,
yeah. It's kind of late. We should probably get it tomorrow.
Yeah. I think it's cool to see like time capsule stuff like that. Like as weird as it sounds, my dad is always telling me that 70s show is what it was like growing up in the 70s.
Nailed it.
I'm like, all right, that's cool. I mean, that would be awesome because that show's pretty funny. I really dig that show.
It is hilarious.
That sounds like a good time. But I think Boyhood really like captures that time, and they put a lot of music. They stopped kind of doing it towards the end, or it was more sparse, but
yeah, definitely.
In the beginning, it was
but at the beginning, you could definitely
Spears, Dragon Ball Z, Game Boy Advance.
If you're paying attention, you could definitely tell like what year it was supposed to be.
For sure, that really cracked me up.
The sister character,
gosh.
terrible for most of the movie. Just like hating her for the most part.
She's pretty annoying. I mean, especially as a kid, she's annoying. Which also is like one of those things where it's like, well, that's just life.
Yeah, they nailed that thing.
I thought the boy was good at the beginning, but his acting kind of like bugged me at the end of the movie. And maybe it's just because he's supposed to be this like disparaged youth or whatever, but it just seems so flat to me, especially.
He delivers his lines very teenagery, just like, oh.
And again, it's like, well, that's just life. But it's like, I don't know. It kind of irks me a little bit. But he does seem kind of like an authentic person, which is cool.
Maybe it'll age like wine. Maybe it'll get better to watch as the longer time goes by.
I was joking when we were watching the movie
about our youth.
that we need a movie called Manhood. And it'll be 30 years to make. It'll just be like this guy getting into his 40s and Richard Linklater's just following around with the camera the whole time. I think that'd be cool. It wouldn't have a point though, which
which really would be the boldest statement about life.
Oh my gosh. And then he just dies.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of dies, this is my problem with the movie. There's no big dramatic tension at the end of the movie. And I honestly feel like maybe someone should have died. Like if they killed off the dad character.
Yeah, do the Disney thing and give this kid a whole bunch of characters and just kill one of his parents. His dad's finally cleaned up his act. He's like finally being an adult, and then he like smashes the minivan.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, or kill the kid. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like do something. There were scenes where it was like the one where he's driving. That would be a perfect scene for something like, I don't know. Maybe he goes to college and he's like rock climbing and then falls.
Crash there.
It was really like a weird kind of scene, right? I don't know, but there's a bunch of other stuff too that, like for instance, in the beginning of the movie, I felt that there were a lot of interesting character arcs. Like you have the stepdad who's drinking and he's an alcoholic, and you kind of see that whole arc go through, and she leaves him and there's like a bunch of conflict. And you kind of like the main dad is really interesting.
Yeah, and Ethan Hawke's usually got a cool character going on.
Yeah, he had it going on that way. And that scene where he's playing the song for him, like in that crappy little apartment, some of it's really good.
I almost cried, I think. No, I definitely almost cried.
I was watching. It was
I remember
intense.
some deep sighs coming out.
It was, I mean, there's some powerful stuff in the movie, but it just feels like it loses steam or something. And the second half, there's like no drama to it.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering when it was going to wrap up towards the end.
Yeah. There was another thing that I was kind of thinking about. The plot thing is somewhat expected, I guess, because of Richard Linklater. And it's funny because a friend of ours just borrowed Dazed and Confused tonight. I just loaned it to him. Another Richard Linklater movie. But you couldn't tell me what the plot of Dazed and Confused is. And originally that was kind of like my defense for the movie. It's like, well, Dazed and Confused doesn't have a plot, and everyone enjoys that movie. But the difference with Dazed and Confused is that movie's one day. It's literally one day. It's the last day of school in 1970.
Definitely.
So you see the whole day, and that's like the entire arc. And you see this kid who's like nervous about things, and then he kind of comes out of his shell and like is like, you get what the movie's about. And in Boyhood, it's just so long and dragged out. It's like, what's the point of this at the end of it? I don't know.
It's hard to get away with not having a point to a story.
Yeah.
When it takes place over almost a quarter of a human being's life.
Yeah. I mean, it's a long period of time to dedicate to something like that. Still, though, with all the complaints, I think it's definitely worth like watching. It's definitely worth checking out, just because it's such an original idea.
I'm glad we watched it.
Cheesy,
I mean, that's why it was on the summer essentials list.
Yeah. We have a big list of movies this year. We have like every month themed, and
our first annual movie calendar.
Our first annual movie calendar, and this month is like summer essentials, so it's like blockbusters or critically acclaimed movies, which is funny because Boyhood is like the stereotypical Oscar movie. It came out, it had a lot of buzz, everyone went out and bought it, and then it's going to be like in Dollar General bargain bins for like ever.
That's when you should get a chance to watch this movie, when you're walking to check out to Walgreens and you're like, oh shit, they have Boyhood here.
Yeah, it's like $2.
Grab it for $2.
That's when you
grab it for $2. Get yourself a giant peanut butter cookie.
Two of them. It's gonna be a long movie.
Yeah, have yourself an okay time.
Man, yeah. Anything else you wanted to toss in on Boyhood?
No, not really, David.
Yeah, that was a good sign. I feel like there was something else that was really getting at me, but
yeah, I just my feelings about it aren't what they used to be. I'm sorry, Boyhood. I know I said some things earlier, and at the time I did feel that way, but Now that I've had some time to think about it, I don't know if I necessarily feel that way.
I kind of feel the opposite. We kind of flipped on this because when we finished watching it, I was kind of not down, and now I feel somewhat more down about it. It just seems acceptable given that is like the nature of life. But
that's definitely a good point.
If you're gonna watch it, just be ready for like 2 hours and 45 minutes a movie, and it feels like 2 hours and 45 minutes a movie.
Get comfy.
Get comfy. Don't watch it late at night. You will fall asleep.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's still. I still think it's worth checking out, though. I stand by that.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I feel like another 10, 12 years goes by, might enjoy this movie a little bit more.
If you're at Redbox and they only have 2 movies left, and it's Boyhood and Alien Covenant, watch Boyhood. It's an easy decision. That's all I'm saying. Even though they're completely opposite movies.
Or I'm just saying, Redbox is everywhere. Just go to the one right across the street. You know, if you turn around, there's going to be one on the other side of the intersection.
Let's say it's like, I don't know, some kind of crazy situation where all Redboxes only have Alien Covenant and Boyhood. Which one are you watching, Frank?
I'm going home to get my guns because there's an apocalypse going on.
All right, well, let's check out this last movie. Well, we're not going to check it out. We've already checked it out.
We're going to watch it again?
But you guys are going to check it out, the listener.
Yeah, go check this one out. Spoiler alert to our review. I'm going to go ahead and say I really enjoyed this one, David.
Yeah, we haven't even revealed the movie yet, but it's awesome.
We should just give our review and not say what movie it is.
Yeah.
Until the very end.
The movie kind of takes place... the movie's Mulholland Drive, which is a David Lynch movie. It's the first David Lynch movie that either of us have seen. We've never seen Twin Peaks. We kind of went into this like not fully expecting what to expect.
Yeah, I knew I was going to get something weird, and I was excited about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how weird we were going to get.
What kind of genre would you put this movie in? What would you say it is? Boom. Boom.
There's a pretty good silence going on.
I was going to sing a trademark song, but I decided not to.
Got a really good reading of the room there. I know exactly what this room sounds like now. Nobody's in it. Is experimental a category?
I think it definitely is.
No, yeah, it was really cool.
Experimental, yeah.
It's kind of hard. I guess drama.
I would also say there's
suspense.
some like noir elements to it too.
It definitely feels a little bit noir.
Yeah.
It's got that whole like Hollywood crime thing going on.
Why don't you give us a little rundown? Like, say you're trying to explain this movie to us a week ago, and we have no idea what it's about.
All right, so there's this little boy, and he lives in this little like this quiet town, and he meets this golden retriever, and not just any golden retriever. This dog he used to work for this clown. He's a really mean drunk clown.
Are you talking about Air Bud? Is this the plot to Air Bud? I don't know if there's a clown in Air Bud or not.
Yes. Yes.
Is this really Air Bud? Are you joking?
Yeah. Have you never seen Air Bud?
I feel like I have.
Did I describe it so well that you figured it out and you've never seen it?
I'm a seen it master. I'm talking about the board game right now.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes I get Air Bud and Mulholland Drive confused. And it's only a recent problem because I only saw this movie about 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Mulholland Drive, not Air Bud. It was a long time ago since I've seen Air Bud.
But ever since then.
But now that I'm thinking about Air Bud, I want a snack pack real hard.
I need to watch Air Bud apparently.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Good.
Yeah. It's got a super realistic showing of how the courts work.
Is it better than Alien Covenant?
I probably enjoyed it more at the time. Just honest opinion. But yeah, Mulholland Drive follows the story, a few stories of... I'm going to take the story by one. We get Betty. Betty is her name, correct?
I'm pretty sure it's Betty.
Yeah, because I kept going, Betty. Yeah, so Betty is new to Hollywood. She's staying at like her aunt's place. She's an aspiring actress.
Yeah, Naomi Watts' character, yeah.
Yes, that young lady. She arrives and she cross paths with another story who really just become merged into one story. They both kind of spend the whole movie together.
Yeah, Rita.
Rita was in a car accident. I believe it's the opening scene, right?
This car crash. Yeah, like she's about to be assassinated or something, and then
some shady's going on.
Yeah,
Rita stumbles away from this car crash. She says she can't remember who she is. They have like the whole amnesia thing going on.
Yeah.
Somebody joked about it before they said amnesia. I thought that was funny that you guys called it before it happened.
There was a lot of calling it in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. There were some predictions made and some predictions made correctly.
Yeah.
I'll say that much about that. Yeah. At one point, I was just like, these ladies are gonna get nude, and boy, did they!
Yeah. So just right off the bat, I mean, if you're,
well, the whole crazy thing is like, it's Betty's first day in town.
Yeah.
She walks into her apartment. Rita's in the shower, just like she has no idea who this person's supposed to be. It turns out she's lying about who she is, and then like day 3, these girls are like best friends.
Yeah, well, to me, part of it is she's from Canada, so that's a big part of the explanation. People from Canada are just nice. She meets a stranger and she thinks she's lost, and well, at first she thinks she's her aunt's friend because she's staying in her aunt's apartment.
She just totally assumes it out of nowhere.
Yeah,
with not too much hinting from this other
but she's from
supposed
Canada.
Rita.
They don't lock their doors in Canada, Frank. They're welcoming people. She should have offered him a donut and some maple syrup. But
she probably was all out of it. She had offered it all up to the people in the airport as she was leaving.
Oh, man, a donut, don't you know? Yeah, so the girls, she kind of gets obsessed with like trying to help Rita find her identity. And I think she gets a little wrapped up in this mystery of her own. And she's just there to audition for movies, and she's got these big dreams. I'm coming to LA. I'm gonna be a star.
Gonna be a star.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fabulous. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
Bad stuff happens. Maybe. I don't know. So,
it seems like it did.
At the same time, there's another story with this director who the characters end up crossing paths with later. And in the director's case, these mysterious men who seem like they're part of some crime organization, they tell him, tomorrow there's going to be a girl who comes in the theater, and when you see her, you're going to say, this is the girl. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. And then that whole situation spirals out of hand. His wife is cheating on him with
They're very
Billy Ray
intimidating.
Cyrus.
There's the one man who never says anything.
Yeah, and he's like...
Until he doesn't like his coffee.
Oh, gosh, and he like spits it up all over his rag. Yeah. The movie is strange, and that's probably my only disclaimer. If you're down to like get weird with it, watch Mulholland Drive if you haven't seen it.
Which is why I enjoyed it so much, really.
It was really cool. I mean, there's just a ton of like really intense scenes, and there's like a lot of emotions. They're all different.
A lot of intensity. Some of my favorite scenes were the scenes that really had nothing else to do with the other stories that were going on. The whole diner scene with those 2 gentlemen and that scary monster that pops out. That was super awesome. That's a scene that I had seen. A scene that I had seen.
Whoa.
Many times before on its own. Just like
yeah,
on YouTube.
That's really cool. And there's David Lynch is just like a filmmaker. Like there's, directors or whatever. Like,
yeah, it was definitely, there are movies and there are films. Yeah. And this was a film.
This is a film. And there's a cool thing in that scene in particular where one man is kind of talking to this other man about this terrifying dream he had. And
terrifying. So the actors did such a good job.
Really, it's a powerful scene. Yeah. The one who's talking about, the one who's like being told the dream though, the camera is just steady and just like watching this character's reaction. And the guy who's like uncomfortable with the whole situation, the camera's kind of like slowly moving around like it's a handheld camera. Yeah. It's like just enough to notice that it's off. And it makes you feel like a little tense, like a little upset.
Uneasy.
Like,
yeah, it does a really good job about picking up the drama.
It's really cool. It's a really cool thing. There was also one other scene too that kind of had that same thing going on, and it was with the frequency. And we were watching the movie, and it was really funny because we just talked about this a few podcasts ago.
And I was supposed to remind you about frequencies before we started.
It's
and
okay.
I didn't.
I remembered.
That's good. I'm reminding you now.
There was a scene with a hie pitch frequency, like dog whistle or something. And
I have no idea what you're talking about, David.
Frank couldn't hear it because he had heard that frequency before and his ears never heard it, or like his ears were ringing too much.
I heard it once real loud.
Yeah, I heard it once real loud, and that was it. But it's just little things like that where it's just making you uncomfortable. It's a cool like technique. Like Stanley Kubrick did a lot of stuff like that, which I love Stanley Kubrick, and it's just nice to. It's like one thing to just make a creepy story and have like a creepy set and stuff, but to do like these kind of film tricks that are making the viewer uneasy, maybe subconsciously, I think that's really interesting. Why don't you tell us about the second half of the movie, Frank? What happens?
So I'm gonna preface this by skipping straight to the end of our movie watching experience, where we had all finished and we were sitting in your living room, and Michelle asked us, so what did you guys think? And both of our general responses were somewhere along the lines of, while I'm not really sure what happened or what some of that stuff meant, I really liked it. I really dug it. Yeah. So that's where we're going in this. Towards the second half, things start getting really intense with Betty and Rita. They're like in this relationship. They're trying to figure out who she is. They find a dead girl.
Yeah.
Just a dead girl laying in an apartment. Eventually, how do they find the box?
They go to this club or something. It's like some club at night, and then there's like these onstage performances. They're like Silencio, which is silence in Spanish.
Club Silencio. And that scene was really cool.
They get this box that they open, and then all of a sudden the whole movie
Rita had the key for
flipped.
It, right?
Yeah, or they found the key in the dead girl's apartment, didn't they?
Yes.
It's all
they did.
It's actually, the whole thing's kind of hazy now, which I think is almost like the point. It feels like a weird dream, and they go into this other world, and all the characters have like now flipped.
Yeah, Rita unlocks the box, the shiny blue metallic box with the key they find in the dead girl's apartment.
Yeah.
And people aren't necessarily... They kind of take on the roles of other characters in the movie before, but still maintain a lot of the relationships that they had in the first movie.
Like, they're still together, but now Betty eventually ends up becoming this dead girl they find.
Yes.
And it's... I mean, you can't really even explain it. It's just so crazy. It goes all over the place.
They jump characters, they jump time a little bit, but the time... Like, they find the dead girl before they go to this club, but it kind of seems like it's... all that back half kind of seems like it's happening in the past, but in the present and the future at the same time.
The timeline just it gets crazy.
Very psychedelic.
When we finished the movie, I had to, like, look stuff up online because I was just so confused. And I was like, what is going on? And I was reading that originally this movie was slated to be a television show. So a lot of these other like weird characters...
They'd probably be on Netflix now.
Oh, wow. Netflix, get it done. You canceled that show everyone's losing their mind about. Sense 8 or whatever. Sense 8. Hop on a Mulholland Drive series. I didn't see that one either. I barely watched Stranger Things, so cut me some slack.
That was good, David.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm a little worried about the second season, but...
We shall see.
We shall see. We'll do a review of it 7 weeks after it comes out. So for Mulholland Drive, though, apparently it was a TV show. So a lot of these like random characters, that's like part of the explanation that they're maybe it made more sense in TV. But they were also saying that a lot of the movies just like not explained, and David Lynch is kind of the sort of filmmaker who just doesn't explain things, and that to me, and I kind of made this comparison for Michelle, my fiancée. That you have to... There's movies that... You have to imagine it like a painting. There are times where you go to like an art museum and you see a painting of like George Washington on a horse and you're like, this is what this painting is. This is George Washington as a leader on this horse. There are other times where you're going to see a painting, you're like, what is this? Like, is this art? Like, what's going on here? That's Mulholland Drive.
Some paintings... tell a very clear-cut story. Other paintings evoke emotion.
Yeah.
And get responses.
I think it's a movie about, like, L.A. That's what I really think it is. It's like one of those stories about the destructive power of L.A. That's kind of what I got out of it. It could be a lot more, but...
Just to suck you in and chew you up and spit you out.
And it's got
dealio.
The actor part. It's got, like, the crime part, the director part, all these different, like, things about, like, the L.A. movie kind of scene stuff. And it just feels like... it's just gross. It reminds me of like a Bret Easton Ellis book or something. But anyways.
Just kind of like, this is what's going on here.
And this is just what happened.
And that's just how it went down.
And we're not going to talk anymore about it. That's all. Yeah. That's all they say.
And that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah. That's all I had to say about that.
The whole little story of the world's worst hitman.
Oh my gosh, what a cool little story.
Yeah, that whole little thing was really funny.
But it wasn't he the one who... I feel like we need to watch this movie again. It's already like...
because I'm pretty sure he comes
back and
at
he's the one who kills the girl.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, she kills herself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she kills herself.
He was gonna kill the director.
I'm pretty sure he's one of her.
No.
Yeah, that's right. He's like one of her friends. I'm pretty sure. When she's like spinning out and.
It's insane. It's a movie that we could watch every weekend for the next year, and every week have a different review about it.
Yeah, just not answer any questions.
Yeah, and never figure anything out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I recommend it.
I would definitely recommend it.
Highly recommend
I definitely enjoyed myself.
And the only caveat is if you're not down for like a weird kind of like out there,
just watch something else instead and wait till you are down to get weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch Boyhood, and that's what you get for not being down for an adventure like Mulholland Drive.
All right, Frank. Well, I mean, is there anything else you would toss in on these movie? Maybe not even so much reviews, but synopsi.
Well, I definitely want to say if you haven't seen Air Bud yet, just give Air Bud a watch.
Yeah. So we reviewed 3
movies. It helps
movies
if you're
and just watch
a child. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, definitely. Or a golden retriever.
I haven't seen it since then. Yeah, the golden retrievers probably love it. They don't get enough basketball movies.
Or soccer movies or football. There's a lot of Air Buds.
I'm pretty sure there's a baseball one. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I said everything I had to say about the first 2. Just don't have very strong feelings about them. I don't feel like they sucked. But they're not my favorites. I'm probably not going to watch them again anytime soon. Just like you know what I need to see again?
I mean, I feel almost the same as you, except I would go a little bit further and say I just didn't like Alien Covenant. Whereas Boyhood, I'm not upset that I watched it, but I'm not going to watch it for like another decade or something. Like if someone's ever like...
Done check that mark.
Yeah, if someone's ever like, hey, I really want to watch Boyhood... to me, because I still haven't seen Benjamin Button because people are like, the movie's too long to watch.
Oh, I had to watch Benjamin Button 1.5 times.
Well, see, that's how I'm going to feel about Boyhood. If someone's like, hey, can we watch Boyhood? I'll be like, oh, man, can we just watch something else? Whereas Alien Covenant, it's like, nah, don't do it. Don't do it, period. I don't know.
Just stop.
Just stop. Just stop. Stop.
But yeah, just once again, Mulholland Drive, real good stuff.
Yeah, that one's awesome. Check that out. I mean, we got to watch more David Lynch movies. We'll have another review sometime this year when we get to...
There was another David Lynch movie in the Summer Essentials category, but as a result of Mulholland Drive, it's been moved to Let's Get Weird.
Which I think is September. So in September, get ready to get weird with Blue Velvet.
Oh, I'm so excited to get weird in September.
And check it out.
Don't forget.
Don't forget.
We're getting weird in September.
Mark your calendars.
Let's get weird in September. September's Let's Get Weird month.
Too soon. Okay, so let's move on to our next category, Frank.
David, I feel like it's been really long since you've too soon me.
I think I got you last week, but it was like on a technicality or something. It wasn't as legit as that one.
All right, David, what you got for me?
So, listeners, I would just like to preface something for you guys. For this week's Unprepared and Unresearched, I really wasn't sure I was unprepared and unresearched. That's not good. And today,
it's truer to what this segment is.
I guess that is true, right? Today I was really thinking about like what we could do as a topic. I wanted to do Kathy Griffin. I was like, everyone's already done that. I wanted to touch on maybe some Wonder Woman stuff, and I was like, no, who cares?
I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah, well, I mean, I told you a little bit about this earlier. It was really about like Wonder Woman having female-only screenings, and I kind of wanted to get your perspective on that, and maybe like, gender equality, and we could get into some politicist issues. But instead, I came up with kind of another little game. I don't know, it's sort of similar.
David, I love games.
Today, I want to get Frank to lay out some predictions for the future. So I've come up with 7 questions. And for each question, I want him to give me the year that he thinks this will happen.
Interesting.
Then I have another round where he just has to give me a yes or no. Will this ever happen?
Yes.
And you can give me a year if you want to.
No.
So let's just dive right into it. And the first one is like kind of like a 3-parter. So really, it's 10 questions in the first part.
It's a 3-parter, and there's 10 questions.
There's 7 questions, but the first question is 3 parts. It's like 3 separate questions. So really, it's like, it's 9. Sorry, I'm doing bad math.
So 7 questions. One of those questions is made up of 3 sub questions.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope they don't relate to one another at all.
They definitely do. So the first question is, Frank, when is the United States going to have its first female president? Definitely not 2016. Sing! Sorry. It would have been a lot better if it was Hillary. I mean,
yeah, the ballots are in on that one.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. She won the popular vote. Spoiler alert.
Interesting. Well, David, I think we're gonna know each other for a long time. Should we put a bet on it? What if I get this right? What prize do I get?
Okay, I'm going to go so far as to say, if you get any of these down to the exact year it happens, I'll give you like $20.
Damn.
Now, let's up it. We'll be like adults. I'll give you $100.
Oh, snap, David.
And it's on recording. And what I really liked about this idea is it's like, man, we could check this out. Because it's going to be on YouTube, which is basically like forever.
Yeah, the internet is forever.
Unless one of the questions is, when does YouTube shut down? But it's not. But this is kind of cool. Like, we can look back on this, decades from now, really, and kind of see like, man, we were really dumb about these predictions. Well, you were anyways. I'm not making any predictions.
I'm a smart man, David.
All right, so toss me. When do you think? What year are we going to have a female president?
So I'm making my prediction, female president.
And I would hate to make this more complicated math for you, but you should go every 4 years if you want to get the answer right. I'm just saying.
When's the last election we had? I
haven't
paid attention to politics in like 4 or 5 years.
Oh my gosh. So 2016 was the last one.
Which one's 2016 again?
Last year.
No, yeah. So it's definitely not. I don't think it's gonna be 2020. I think we all got really riled up in this last set of elections. I think a lot of people are gonna be mad at.
Well, 2020 will be the first old crabby Jewish president.
Hopefully, man. I feel like people, even on the Democrat side, people are really mad with the Democratic Party and the way they just kind of washed Bernie Sanders out. And I feel like a lot of that blame's gonna hit Hillary, which I'm okay with. I wasn't a fan to begin with.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, Jesus. So I honestly think it's going to be a good minute. I'm placing my bet on like 20. I mean, I'm thinking at least 2037.
2037?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I think it's going to be a minute.
Okay. Let's just say 2036, because that would be the election in that time.
And I'm basing part of that on I thought the world, at least America, was ready to... During the 2016 elections, I saw a fork in the road for our country, and I thought, like, as a country,
a fork in the road?
Yeah, a fork. That's an American fork. If you didn't know that already, if you aren't in the know, if you aren't like super cooling up on on vernacular,
on the kids' lingo. These days.
Yeah, what the kids are saying these days. I'm just like hot off the presses with that stuff. And I thought we were ready to take one road, and America showed that dude, we're doing the exact opposite of what I thought we were doing. So
yeah,
well, not super high hopes for what's going on.
In a weird way, and I hate to sound like I'm defending Donald Trump. It really just kind of pointed out though that there were a lot of disenfranchised people, all like in these small communities, and Hillary Clinton wasn't representing those people.
Yeah, it's almost like the Democratic Party backed the wrong horse.
Yeah, it's almost
like they didn't know what their voters wanted.
It's almost like the supposed party of the people abandoned the people when they picked the corporate shill candidate. But anyways.
Yeah, they just went for some marketing.
Oh my gosh. I got a big old cat on me, guys. I'm sorry. It's Booyo.
There's a pretty big cat.
She just hopped up here. She's like desperate to get up on the stable. Okay, here's the next one.
She's still
what
just
year will
calling
we
at
have
it.
the first Hispanic president? Or maybe you just go 2036 and it's a Hispanic girl. You win $200.
Oh, snap.
Double or nothing.
Just double down. Man, if I just get all these right, you're going to like... I'll be all right through the years. I'll just have all these little $100 bonuses coming through me if I really have like psychic abilities. Hispanic president. When will we be ready for that? When will we get far enough away from Trump's America? Or is it going to be like an instant rebound thing and Trump gets defeated by a Latino?
When can I reach these? How can I reach these voters?
Damn. Imagine if Trump lost the 2020 election to a Latino.
Whoa. Someone with the last name like, I don't know, Cruz or maybe like Rubio. I don't know.
And then he like leads investigation on all of Trump's wrongdoing, and then the Supreme Court decides that Trump has to build a big old wall, and they make him pay for it.
Or the Hispanic president makes him like dismantle the wall himself.
Yes, tear the wall one brick at a time.
Sweet, sweet justice.
I could honestly see this happening.
I see it quicker than the woman president.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's probably around the corner, man.
Give me a year, Frankie.
I was really shocked when we saw an African American president.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't see
I
that
honestly
coming.
almost said an African American black president. I'll be honest with you.
Wow.
That almost came out of my mouth.
Well, thanks
and
for
then
putting
it
that out
did
there.
come out of my mouth.
Yeah, it did. Beautiful.
You're welcome. I'm just trying to be honest with you. I was like, hey, there's a reason my mouth wanted that to come out. Can't be stifling myself. I'm going to say 2024, man.
Okay.
I'm placing the bets on it.
All right,
for my people.
One more president one. Our first gay president.
Hey.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now this one's another Trump's America thing.
Yeah, right? In a sad way, I feel like this would be the last one out of this group of three.
Yeah, I can kind of see that too, man. People were upset when Kennedy got elected because he was Catholic.
Yeah, dude, and that's just Catholic.
And that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And that's just Catholic.
I mean, if I put atheist president on here, it'd be never.
Yeah.
Or it'd be hundreds of years off.
So far.
Yeah.
It'd be long enough that I would have to get my calculator out to figure out what years would be eligible election years.
It's like 2140.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
That's a tough one.
What was my guess for female president? 2036. 20. I'm pretty sure I said 2037. So thank you for correcting me.
I got you.
Got the autocorrect on.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
That's what I'm here for.
Just wanted to give you a shout out on that.
Oh.
Yeah, I got you, girl. I didn't even bother to do the math on this. I'm just gonna say 2052.
2052.
Or whatever the next election year
2050. No, 36, 40.
would have to be before that or after that.
No, you're right. 2052.
Nailed it.
Nice. Okay. Here's the next one. Physical media dies out. And I mean
Damn, and everything goes digital.
Yeah, everything
like
is digital.
music, movies, video games, magazines.
That's already happened.
Got him. Take that, newspapers.
Take that, hot off the presses.
Yeah, you arrogant news giants.
Well, they're still newspapers, but let's face it, they're gonna be the first to go in this group, I think. That or CDs.
Maybe they need to get like little children to just shout the headlines at you.
Yeah, maybe. Extra, read all about it.
That sounds super appealing. I'd throw. How much are newspapers even? I don't even know anymore.
They're the
Like
Sunday paper's like $1.50 or something like
Jesus.
that. Yeah.
Well, you do get the comics in color,
You do, man.
so
you get all
I
them
mean,
ads that you're gonna throw away.
yeah, man. I mean, you could find a bunch of sales and coupons that you're gonna forget to take with you when you go to those restaurants.
Here's like my sub prediction. I won't give a year, but all I'm gonna say is, I think like at least for newspaper, a large majority of the people who buy them are people who like grew up with the newspaper somehow.
And it's something that they're used to having, just like a
Yeah.
physical copy of the news.
I don't think our generation's gonna be down to subscribe to newspapers. Maybe some will, but I personally will never subscribe to a newspaper, and I would be surprised if I go back on that because I get all my information online. You know what I mean? It just makes sense. It's all there.
Yeah.
I can go to the newspaper's website and just read it.
If you're listening to this, you're online right now. You do it too.
Yeah, joke's on you.
We're talking about you.
We
You're
are.
the reasons that the newspaper died. We did it, guys. We killed him. Yeah. This one, I don't know. This one seems kind of hard for me. Vinyl's making a comeback.
Yeah,
like a whole new thing.
You know what? Let's. I'll make an addendum to this question. Let's just say newspapers then, because I think CDs, for instance,
That I could definitely see happening.
CDs for sure will like always have a purpose because
Yeah.
the audio quality is.
It's
so
gonna
high.
beat out an MP3 anytime until
Yeah.
they figure out how to make like a super lossless file.
Well,
which I don't know enough about technology to
I've
make a
seen
guess on when
Silicon
that's gonna
Valley,
happen.
and they can transfer data that fast.
They just start hitting middle out compression and make
There
it
you go.
real. That peer-to-peer internet idea got me so excited,
So
David.
cool.
I
Silicon
get so
Valley's
sad
awesome.
when I remember that it's not a real thing that's happening.
Awesome show.
Yeah.
Highly recommended.
So dead newspapers,
Dead
I could see
newspapers.
happening. We're all going to hear about the next female president losing out. It's not going to be 2036 yet. I feel like that's going to happen a little bit sooner.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
what year is it now? 2017?
Yeah.
I almost started doing it in fours by again, and I realized there was no reason to.
Yeah, now you can just guess any year you
Yeah,
want.
now I can just say any year. It's probably going to have a 7 in it, honestly. No, I could see this happening like 2029.
All right, solid guess.
Yeah, it's like another, 12 years now?
I feel like
It took 12 years for newspapers to stop being made.
it took 12 years to stop. When are we gonna make first contact with intelligent life
Huh.
from another planet?
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, real soon. We need help with this global warming.
Or have we already? That's the real question.
Bum, bum, bum.
I say, like, when was the Roswell space crash?
I don't know.
Like in the 70s, the 50s? One of those years?
Just to be safe, I mean one where it's released to the news that we've made contact with another species.
If aliens really want to, like, give a shout out to Earth,
Yeah,
they should just, like, interrupt a broadcast during, like, the Super Bowl.
that'd be the best way to do it.
And then not even, like, because there's a big population of people who only watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. They got to hit during the commercials.
Well, everyone's gonna think it's a
Super
commercial. Then they're gonna be like, "What was that commercial for?" It
That
seems
was
really
weird.
weird.
Can't wait to find out online what coming. So it's gonna have to be a multi-platform launch on their reach out to their things. They're gonna have to interrupt during the commercial. Then they're gonna have to make sure they have Instagram and Twitter pages so that when people go to search the hashtag, they find out like, oh snap, it was actually aliens reaching out
So,
to it.
so you're saying the
Follow.
aliens need to hashtag?
Follow,
hashtag.
retweet, like.
Well,
yeah.
since you're making this example, now you need to give the Super Bowl number that it's gonna happen during.
Oh Lord!
You made
How
it harder.
often do Super Bowls happen? Every
4
7 years?
I think it's every 4
Is
years.
it every 4 years?
It's on the off. It's on every off 2 years of the presidential election. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's something like the Olympics or something like that. There's a summer and winter Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Um,
but no one watches the Winter Super Bowl.
I don't know. Every time I read something about space, I feel like I get really excited. Like, oh snap! This just affirms my belief that there's got to be something out there. We
Yeah.
just found another planet somewhere. But who knows how far along in civilization those planets are? Who's to say that they're not still in the Stone Age or something like that on their planet? And their technology isn't even as good as ours. They're still like on the iPhone 3, like on their planet or something like that.
That's true.
The edges are still all round and stupid. But yeah, I mean, just wishful thinking. I'm gonna guess like 2024, man. I don't know how much longer I can wait.
Interesting. Okay.
I just want to see some aliens or something like that. There's been a few times where I've seen something weird out in the desert. The place where we live, I feel like, is really good to just like think about aliens, because every now and then you're out in the desert. It's nice and dark. You can see all the stars, and you see something weird, or you feel something weird, or you hear something weird. Just like, ooh, I'm not really sure what that was right there. I can't really explain what I just saw or heard.
Fair enough, man. That sounds a good time. I mean, I hope you're right. 2024 would be awesome.
Yeah.
2024 would be like, I'd be stoked.
7 years. I'm giving you a lot of time to give me aliens.
Okay, here's your next one. How long until EDM dies? And
Also, another wishful thinking.
And by dies, I'm going to give it the criteria that,
It's like not dominating the market.
yeah, that's a hard thing to measure, I think. But
Because some things like rock and roll will never die, David.
yeah, but is EDM rock and roll is the question,
So the question is old as time itself.
right? It really isn't, but
People have been asking that for millennia.
we'll count it this right. EDM will be dead when you tell them, hey, do you like EDM? And they're like, what's that?
What is that?
That's when EDM's dead.
I don't know. It's so hot right now, and I feel like
It's real hot.
I feel like I can't even really remember the beginning at this point. I remember thinking like, oh, how long is this fad gonna go on? And that was a long time ago.
It really was.
That was
man.
so long ago.
It's going hard.
Yeah. Honestly, man, I feel like there's no end in sight almost. Like at this point,
Like
it's the best way to make money in music at this point.
Yeah.
Outside of like hip hop or pop music, it's got the biggest like festivals.
That's true.
Have such a huge share of the market as far as money and music goes.
So did disco.
So did disco. But how long did disco last? How long do you think disco lasts? I wasn't around.
I would say like a decade. I mean, it's still around now, but
Are people still making disco music?
that Daft Punk Random Access Memories album was pretty disco. Some of it was, anyways.
And I did like that. I did enjoy
good
that.
Stuff, man.
It was really good.
That was already years ago now too, which is even crazier to think about.
Yeah, I was for some reason I thought about it in jobs, and I was like, 3 jobs ago, man.
I thought you meant the Ashton Kutcher movie. So what do you think? When's EDM kicking the bucket?
I think EDM, we're still going to have to deal with it for another, at least another 15 years, honestly.
Okay.
I see another 10, 15 years of EDM. Just like the war on terror.
Oh my
This
gosh.
isn't something I see us getting out of very easily.
What a coincidence for the next question I'm showing you. So we'll say 2032 is your guess then. That's 15 years from now.
Sure.
All right. When does North Korea stop being communist?
Oh, dude, we've got those guys right where they want them pretty soon. We're just gonna get them caught. The Donald Trump's plan is to get down at a table with Kim Jong-un, whatever Kim is in there now.
It's actually Unil Sun.
Un-il-sun.
That's his name. Yeah.
So yeah, Donald Trump's plan is to sit down with the supreme leader, and just get have a little conversation with them. Donald Trump's super good at business. He's super good at negotiating.
He's the best. He knows the best people.
Yeah, definitely. At least that's what he says. Chill, Booyo. Chill.
There's a cardboard box in the
destroy
services
that box,
capsule.
Booyo.
Losing it right now.
Yeah, it's gotta die. I can't remember what I was talking about.
Donald Trump is the best at business.
Yeah, he's the best at business. So they're going to get into these wheelings and dealings, and Donald Trump's going to catch this guy in an Elmer Fudd Bugs Bunny scenario, a Daffy Bugs duck season, rabbit season bit, if you will. And, we're going to get him really good, David. They're going to be Democrats before you know it.
And after he says that, he's just not going to be able to go back. He's just going to be like, okay, well, you guys got it.
And he's going to be super pissed when he finds out North Korea doesn't have any oil.
Oh, wow. They've used it all. That's ridiculous. So you're saying in the next 4 to 8 years, then, is what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, because either that or, like, the world war is going to break out and we're going to destroy them because all their missiles are cardboard and paper mache.
I actually heard a theory from a guy who wrote a book on North Korea. He visited North Korea and was checking it out. He was basically saying that, like, North Korea is faking the missile launch tests.
Honestly, that's kind of how I feel about it.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
And it's like every time there is like some launch test, like the missile like explodes or it doesn't go very far.
Well, what he was thinking was like, think about the pride of Kim Jong-un and like North Korea. They're not going to show on a public level like them failing. And basically that...
Oh, they would never.
They're going to show something that's going to make us feel more comfortable and not really know what their true capabilities are to keep us like in the dark about it, which is pretty nerve-wracking. But you got to give me a date, Franklin. When does North Korea stop being communist?
So I've already just made the prediction that this would happen during the Trump presidency, but I honestly don't think that's gonna happen. Like North Korea is just they're gonna be like hermits or whatever till like the day North Korea dies. The day they finally shoot a rocket at some big nation, and we all have to attack North Korea. They really just missed the boat. Like, they needed to scoop them up, some Nazi scientists, when everybody else was scooping them up.
Yeah.
Idiots. There was a time to get yourself some real good science.
Yeah.
To scoop up some fleeing Nazis.
It could have been, instead of boys of Brazil, it could have been boys of Pyongyang.
Yeah.
Is Pyongyang in North Korea? Pretty sure it is.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Well, while you come up with a date, I'm going to Google Pyongyang.
Yeah, figure it out, David. I'm going to do some fake math in my head.
That's the
my
best kind of
goodness.
fake math.
You carry the 1 square root of 7.
I really hope that noise came through. That's the cat messing around behind the TV.
What was she even
stuff
jumping at?
I don't know.
I feel like she was facing the corner of the wall.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just trying to set a personal record.
There's nothing back there but cables. What are you doing, Booyo? My cat is just losing her mind right now.
I don't see something like that happening until, like, at least the 1950s. I'll say 1950s, 2054.
Whoa, we're going to go back in time and stop them. Well, at that point, they weren't. You're saying 2054.
2054.
Whoa. That's pretty cool, man. Pyongyang is the capital and largest city of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Also
Good job,
known as
David.
North Korea. I'm sorry, you said 2054?
2054. Did I get it right?
Well, okay, first off, there's no way I could check that at this current time.
You don't have, like, an app or something?
I'm just checking some math real quick. So if it's 2054 plus we're 26.
What race
right
or
now.
gender of president are we going to have then?
We're going to have the first transgender president by then.
Good job, guys.
The transgendered atheist president.
Nice.
We're going to be 63 in 2053.
54.
54.
Oh, what does 63-year-old Frank look like? Hopefully I look like a cool-ass old dude.
I was going to get really personal with the questions. I was going to be like, what year are you going to get married? Or like, what year you have your first child?
Interesting.
And I felt like, I don't want to put him on the spot that much. So instead, here's a soft question.
27.
20. What? What year does Walking Dead, the TV show, end?
That's a good question. When is the comic book going to end? Are they both going to end at the same point in their stories? How is all that going to go down?
Here's all I'm saying. Walking Dead's like on 160 something right now, the comic book.
Yes.
Kirkman has said he has the next 200 issues planned out.
That sounds...
Beautifully on.
Excuse me. That sounds like Kirkman.
It does sound like Kirkman, but I honestly can't see the TV show lasting as long as the comic book. There's no way.
Yeah, it does kind of make sense that a comic book would outlast its film or TV counterpart.
Yeah.
That's just like natural.
There was like 500 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. There's not going to be that many Spider-Man movies.
Comic books just have a longer life run, but this TV show, I don't know. I feel like it's really good right now. I feel like there haven't really been too many seasons that I thought were filler or bull Huey, if you will, in quite a long time. I feel like they got a really good chemistry going with the showrunners and the main actors.
You know,
they got a whole lot of runway.
Yeah.
As far as like story goes.
I would say I mean, online, everyone's complaining, and like every season of Walking Dead's the worst season ever. That's what all I hear online. This was the lamest season since season 2. But I don't think there's a single bad season of Walking Dead. There's some bad episodes. Like there's some episodes.
Yeah,
that
don't
are,
get me
like,
wrong.
filler.
Some episodes, it's like, oh man, now we have to wait a whole week to actually see something.
Yeah, but as far as like seasons go, I would say they're all like solid. They all have something going on in them. To me, it's like, when does the show stop being profitable? Or like, when is the name tarnished?
When do their ratings drop so low that it's not just like a monster just dominating its airtime?
Because if I'm not mistaken, it's still the #1 show on TV.
So what season are we in right now? Is it 9? Is it 10?
No, it's not 9. It's got to be like
7.
I feel like 7's the right answer.
7's usually the right answer.
I used to buy all the seasons on Blu-ray, but I haven't done that. Like, I haven't bought the last like 2 or 3.
Why, you fool?
I need to hop on it. There's been 115 episodes of Walking Dead.
My goodness.
That's insane. 7 just finished. Hey! So we're going to be starting season 8 of Walking Dead. 8 years of zombie apocalypse, man.
I almost said I could see it going 15 seasons, but as I was about to say it out loud, that sounds a little bit ridiculous to me. Like 15 seasons?
See, and that's what I was thinking in my head. It's like, when does the number stop being ridiculous?
It's going to be like the bulk of a shelf.
No. 15's a lot.
15 is a lot.
But then that Dark Shadows soap opera was on for like 30 seasons. So what are you
My
going to do?
goodness. But 12, but then as I'm thinking 12 doesn't seem like enough. I can see it going. I'm going to say 16 seasons.
16 seasons.
I'm going to say 16 seasons.
Okay. So, for this one, we won't use a year. We'll just say, hey, Walking Dead ends on the 16th season. We'll see.
Yeah, 16.
Because maybe they'll take a year break or something. We'll find out.
On this series finales of AMC's The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and then Chris Hardwick could be like, whoa, let's talk about that last episode. Rick finally died, and everyone else did. And that's the end of Walking Dead. And now I'm out of a job. All right, I got one more question for you. When do the Cowboys win their next Super Bowl?
How often do they have Super Bowls?
This one was supposed to be a little bit of a dig.
We'll see. I haven't been keeping up with my team in the off season. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, it's not going to be
used
next
to
year, let's be honest.
I'm just used to us making terrible decisions in the off season. So
I just want to point out to the
I know we
listener,
let some free agents go, and I was like, okay, I can't listen anymore.
I just love when football fans or sports fans say "we" in regards to their team. And Frank does it all the time. I just love it so much. It cracks me up. I don't like sports. I'm just putting that out in the air.
That's why you're being so judgy right now.
I'm not a sports fan. It's funny. It's just like, imagine if I was like, I don't know. I can't even make an analogy to this.
It just feels like I've been wearing the memorabilia since I was like a toddler.
But that's just like
and
intense marketing and branding. That's all it is.
But also like as a Cowboys fan, like I was used to like having a really good team. And then I had to live through all the years of the Cowboys just being terrible and just being the butt of so many jokes.
And eventually that'll be over.
Yeah, it'll all be over, and then I will laugh.
And what year is that? When is the Cowboys winning the next Super Bowl?
I honestly see it happening in the next 2 to 3 years.
So every Cowboys
we'll win like three or four in a row. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah,
the teams are gonna have to scramble to beat our record again. Take that, Pittsburgh, you chumps.
So what are you saying? 2020?
I'm saying 2019. Let's do this, Cowboys.
Dang, 2019. That's the closest guess we've had so far. All right, so those were the year guesses.
Those are gonna be dancing in front of your face, and the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. You're gonna have to give me $100. It's gonna be so fun.
That would be amazing. I wouldn't
so
even
cool.
be upset about like we're like watching the Super Bowl game. It's like on pins and needles. I got like $100.
Did you guys make a bet on this? Yeah, 3 years ago, 2 years ago,
on a podcast. That'd be incredible. Let's say it's 2019. What's the score?
Oh snap!
Not for the bet. You don't have to get it right for the bet. But if we're gonna call it, let's call it.
Oh my goodness! Look into the future, Frank. Peer into what hasn't happened yet.
You sound like a robot right now. I don't know how you're doing that. It sounds cool.
I don't know how I'm doing it either. The score for the Dallas Cowboys win for the Super Bowl in the year 2019.
Yeah.
It's going to be 21-18.
Ooh, a close game. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
You heard it here first. We did a podcasters. 21? 18?
21-18.
I almost
Dallas.
forgot again. Okay, so that was our little segment on yes and no's. Now we're going to be talking about... no, I had that backwards. That was our segment on the year in specific.
What's next, David?
Now we're going to have the segment on yes or no's. So it's just like, I'm going to toss you one. You tell me if it's going to happen or if it's not going to happen.
All right.
Scientology disbands.
Ooh, interesting. We were kind of talking about the demise of Scientology a little bit earlier. Honestly, once Tom Cruise dies, I think they're all just gonna get up and quit. I could see Scientology falling out to where it's not like one hub telling everybody else what to do, but there's just like tiny little subsets left, just like 7 Scientologists who meet at their house every now and then and talk about what they used to talk about.
I'll count that.
Yeah, because there's going to be stragglers forever.
All right. Will the human race abandon fossil fuels?
Oh, I didn't even give it. Will they or will... Was the first one a year? Are we not doing years anymore?
No years on this one. Just yes or no.
Yes. What was the question?
Will the human race abandon fossil fuels?
I'm going to say yes. It's not going to happen as soon as a lot of us would like to.
Yeah.
But it's going to have to happen.
Because we'll just run out.
Yeah, it's going to have to happen.
That's I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, that's totally true. It's either we got to run out of fuel or the Earth will just destroy us before then.
Yeah, it'll just get rid of us so it can keep on keeping on.
All right. Are we ever going to get to the point where we won't have countries, but just one global entity, planet Earth? Fellow Earthicans. This is a Futurama reference.
There are no borders. They're imaginary.
Hmm?
So as soon as we all just realize that, and we're all living on the same Earth, all under the same bubble, breathing the same air, burning the same dead dinosaurs that goes up into our air and kills many of us and the plants and animals around us. Nah, I don't see it happening. Too much greed. No.
Oh my god.
There's too much greed in the world already.
You know what? I totally agree with you, man. I think there's too many cultural differences. And I think that, like, one person having all that power is never going to happen.
There's always going to be people who are set in their ways, and there's always going to be people who were raised by those people, and yeah, there's just some things we're never going to be able to get rid of.
The only way I can see it happening is if there's no, like, leader at all.
Or aliens attack us.
Yeah, but even then, it wouldn't happen. I think if aliens attacked us, we'd still be all in separate countries.
Yeah, and the countries would all be trying to take credit for getting rid of the aliens.
It'd be ridiculous.
All the histories would be different.
I just think that maybe
we could all agree, just like together as a world community, that France didn't do a whole bunch, and we all had to save them.
Well, I mean, France is getting it done right now. We aren't. I think maybe if there's no leader and everyone can kind of just like, it was like a giant UN, similar to what happens in Star Wars, except that's a bad example because it gets taken over by a dictator. Are we ever going to get to the point where it's nothing but self-driving cars on the road? No.
Like we're just running on magnetic tracks and stuff like that?
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
None. Like everything is self-driving. Not like, oh, there's self-driving cars and it's an option. It's like, no, everyone is self-driving cars.
Honestly, not in my lifetime, and I don't even think of my kid's lifetime. But if this whole thing we got going on is still going on, yeah, I could see it happening.
Okay. But you're saying maybe like 2 generations from now.
Like 2 to 3 generations even.
Well, yeah, it would really be like 4 generations because it's like, yeah, it's like when these new people are being born. That's interesting. Okay. Interesting. Is Apple going to shut its doors? And I don't mean the fruit. I mean the company.
Does the fruit have a company?
Well, yeah.
Like Del Monte?
I don't mean the record label. I mean the people who make the phones.
No.
No, really?
Apple will be part of the colonization mission to Mars.
Whoa. Calling it hard. Okay. I mean, I could kind of see it, though. I mean, I think inevitably all companies will shut down.
At some point.
If you're thinking on like a huge scale, but
I think Apple will definitely live on in some way
be
forever.
Around for a long time, yeah. Okay, a couple more for you. World War III. Is it going to happen or is it not going to happen? Not to make something trivial out of something that could be so serious.
Yeah, and that's honestly why I'm giving it a really big thought, because I often joke about World War III popping off.
I feel like everyone does.
And it's honestly to relieve a little bit of attention, because I honestly feel like it's definitely something that could happen.
It could.
Yeah. I could definitely see it happening again. It would just take... it wouldn't just be one event. It would have to be multiple things happening and people taking it the exact wrong way. Tensions flaring, allies being drawn, and then we're all just, rationing what we can and saving for the world effort or the war effort.
The only thing I got to say about this is part of me says no. And the reason why is because to have a war on that big of a scale again, you're going to need major countries involved. And when you think about like potential people who you're going to be at war with, you think about countries like Russia or, North Korea, for instance. We were just talking about that. And all these countries have intense nuclear powers. So I could see Cold War II happening before World War III, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would lead after a very long chain of events involving many facets and countries that you wouldn't necessarily see now getting into another world war, but things happening to certain dignitaries or certain bases where those countries get drawn into it.
Similar to like us in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, definitely.
We weren't on the forefront of it. Well,
yeah, so I'm not saying it's super likely. I'm saying there's a possibility and it would take a lot of steps to get there. But if all those steps went through and nobody jumped in to stop the fire before it got big, I could definitely see it happening.
I see what you're saying. Well, hopefully you're wrong, Frank. We'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see what the future has in store. Last one for you. I'm closing the book.
Oh, snap. Close the book on that one.
Will Donald J. Trump get impeached?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. This is a hard yes.
Yeah, I'm just going with the yes. I really feel it in my heart of hearts.
And so you all know today we came off the Comey investigation hearing where he testified to Congress. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. I mean, I was just doing a bunch of stuff today, and I was like, man, I don't want to listen to an FBI hearing right now. But from what I gathered, there wasn't anything definitive in it. That it was all kind of just like, well, the president asked me to do some stuff, and I didn't do it, and I was really surprised he fired. It just doesn't seem like it's... To
like
me, it was...
Donald Trump's almost making out to be Roadrunner-esque at this point.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of the Hillary Clinton one, because at the time I was like, man, if Hillary Clinton gets kicked out of this thing, we're going to have to... we'll have to settle for Bernie Sanders. Shucks. But yeah...
Oh, no, that's right. This is America.
Then nothing happened. I kind of hope you're right. At this point, though, it's like, man, even if you impeach him, Mike Pence, President
that's a
Pence,
scary thing,
Then you impeach that guy, it's like, ugh.
Yeah,
President Ryan?
You're gonna have to work harder and harder to impeach the presidents to get through this whole cabinet.
Yeah.
At some point, they're gonna be like,
everyone.
Guys, we can't impeach like everyone. Like, we don't even know who's next at this point.
Yeah, this is
They're
never
gonna catch on to us real soon.
Yikes. Well, maybe Kathy Griffin will go through with it. That's all we can hope for.
Do it, Kathy.
Well, that's Frank. That's all I got for my predictions. Is there anything? I don't know. You don't want me to predict anything, do you?
David, when is the last Nintendo 64 going to stop running?
Ooh, good question. I'll preface this question with something a little different, I guess.
Hit me with something.
I'm going to answer this question in a way maybe you weren't expecting. I could see them making N64s forever because all they really have to do is replace the drive part of it. And like the rest of the console would be okay. What is real though is rot. Like a lot of these.
And when's the last cartridge is going to?
That's what I'm talking about. It's the cartridge that's going to go before the consoles will. Because there's already Atari 2600 games that are just like dead. So if the 64 was big in the 90s, I'm going to say 2050. I'm going to go a long time. I'm going to say 2052.
Interesting.
I'm going to get real specific with it. Because I think there's always going to be those guys who have been like collecting hardcore. My N64 games are in a drawer. They're in an ice drawer. They're in like one of those library things when you used to have to look
looks
stuff
like it
up on
got
the
some
card.
Dewey Decimal cards in there.
That's exactly what the thing. I picked it up as savers, and it's the perfect size for N64 games. So at least they're not being exposed to the elements, but it's not as good as having it like individually cased in all these like plastic cases. And then you got to think about, there's all these people who have like sealed 64 collections, and then those sealed games are in other boxes. It's like intense. But eventually, though, they're all gonna die, which is kind of crazy to think about. Which, I mean, this is a whole other podcast, but man, people collect video games, and it's like video games eventually are gonna, like, they're at least the cartridge based ones, they're not gonna work forever. And there's gonna be a point where, man, I can't make it. So I don't know. ROMs are the way to go in longevity if you're just looking to play them. But anyways, anywho's,
2052.
2052. That's when the last 64 game's gonna work, guys. So get your Conker's Bad Fur Day in now. Get your 4-player GoldenEye in right now. And, play Superman 64 while you can cherish it. And then throw it in the dumpster. And I don't know, spit on it or something.
Very specific instructions.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do to your copy of Superman 64.
All right, David, are you ready for some Peeps and Predicts?
Boy, am I. Okay, so in case you missed the last one, or if you missed all of them.
If this happens to be the first one that you're listening to.
Peeps and Predicts, we compare two famous or fictional, still famous characters, real or fake. And we put them in two predicaments and match them up and see who we think comes out on top. Before we were taking two random names out of a jar, and we've kind of decided to switch up the formula, keep it fresh.
I like the new formula.
Keep it funky. We have predetermined matchups now. So we have a jar of...
Spent some time drafting some matchups.
Yeah, we tried to make him, at least that there's
Which was hard with some of the more random characters that were in the jar.
Yeah.
We still got some more work to do there.
Yeah, like I don't know how we're going to match up Harriet Tubman with someone, but if you have an idea...
if you are ever going to leave a comment in one of those videos, comment on who should match up with Harriet Tubman in a litany of possibilities of matchups, really.
Really, anyone.
Who knows what they're going to be facing off against. Yeah, please give us somebody for Harriet Tubman.
But we're at wit's end, quite literally. So, did you want to draw the peep on this one?
Yeah. Yeah, I will draw the peep on this one, David.
There you go, Franklin.
Thank you, sir.
Who we got?
Well, I will let you know when I unfold it and I read it.
No, do it right now.
So this week, we have facing off Edward Scissorhands and Wolverine.
Oh, okay. Edward Scissorhands and Wolverine.
And this suggestion was given to us by intoxicated Alexis.
Yeah, our friend Alexis was intoxicated when he said Wolverine. Although I did say, I think I said Edward. No, you think you came up. Who cares?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was you. But
I'm happy to take the credit for it.
Let's give the credit to you.
Got it.
So for the predicament, the first we have of not intoxicated Wolverine, but regular Wolverine and Edward Scissorhands. Illegally crossing the border.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't they illegally cross the border in Logan? No, they legally do it. He just drives
Does
across.
Logan make it across? I don't think Logan made it across.
Well, the beginning of the movie, he's going to Mexico, remember? I'm not talking about the Canadian border. That's another border.
Yeah, true that.
Because it starts off in El Paso. Hey, shout out EP.
Yo, yo, yo.
The 915.
That's where we're from.
That is. Well, I'm from Victoria, Texas.
Well, that's where we are.
That's where we are right now.
Yes.
And it's just like Logan depicted it. But then he goes to Mexico, so he does it legally. But in the movie, he is a smuggler, so I would think, hey, maybe he could get across the border.
And also, I just want to say Wolverine's got the speed factor, too. Edward Scissorhands stands out. You see Edward Scissorhands, instantly you have questions.
That's true. Like, Wolverine could at least appear to be normal.
Yeah.
He just schninked. It puts the claws back in the hands, and all's good. No one would guess. They'd just be like, "Whoa, that looks like that guy from Les Mis," and it is.
Ooh, this matchup would have been a good one for butter sculpting and eating contest.
It would have been perfect. Oh man!
Too bad it wasn't in the cards for this universe, David.
That's how the world works. Yeah, and you know what? On the other hand, too, Edward Scissorhands, I feel like, has no... Like, he doesn't know how the world even works. Like, would he even understand borders?
Or how to be nonchalant or figure out a way around it.
Yeah. Like, he's kind of like
without
a child.
The context? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely think this is going to be a hard Wolverine, man.
Yeah, I don't even feel like it needs any more discussion. That's a Wolverine win for the win.
Yeah.
www.wolverinewin.wom.
He's the best at what he does, Frank. And in this case, it's crossing the border illegally.
Good job, Wolverine.
Good job, Wolvie. Do you want to read this next one?
Second, predict
Reach
for
in
the
there.
peeps and predicts. Oh, who's our reigning champion right now?
Oh, man. That's a good question.
I honestly can't remember.
We were chatting about this with Danny.
Oh, man. We're going to have to think about this for a second.
This is pretty sad. We can't remember who was on our own show.
Was it still Nicolas Cage? I feel like he might have gotten dethroned.
No, okay. Nicolas Cage lost in the little one-off we did with Danny to Ken Ham.
So Ken Ham had won.
And then the next week, we did the first time where we did these matchups where it was like predetermined matchups. And who was it?
It totally escapes me right now.
It really
I have no idea who it was.
And to be honest, what I'm going to blame it on, and if you've listened to the episode... Okay, so here's how it goes. We haven't edited the last episode and put it up yet.
Been slacking it a bit, if you will.
We have been. It's been a loaded last couple weeks. We did a segment where we read a choose your own adventure book out loud.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if that's gonna end up getting released.
And had Danny choose the adventure. It probably won't get released. We were trying to talk about ways that we can make it entertaining.
Not our best work.
I would argue it's our worst work so far.
Probably.
But after that, it was like, oh, okay, well, let's do Peeps and Predicaments. It was defeating. Really. It was bad.
It threw a wrench into the works for sure.
You could tell how bad it was because Danny was even uninterested. He was just like,
Yeah, that poor guy. He just had to, at least we were there with each other and we could look at each other's faces. Danny was just like off by his lonesome having to... It was really just David and I reading a story to Danny making one decision and not dying.
That's the key point. We read a choose your own adventure book that literally had one choice in it and then ended. Gosh, that was just a mess. Well, Frank, I feel like we can either pause this real quick and I can go grab the Peep and Predict from last week and just read it. Or we can just keep struggling to figure it out. Or we could just scrap reigning champ right now, and that'll be the reason for it.
Well, David, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for some smooth elevator music. So why don't we find out who the reigning champion is?
I'll be right back.
We'll be right back. David, be right back.
Hello, I'm back. Last week on AMC's Peeps and Predicaments, we had the Batman against JJ Arms. We even made a JJ Arms joke before we started recording, and it still got past us. And I was telling my Schlatsky's Deli story last week. They were in the most dangerous game situation where they were being hunted.
Okay.
And they were also in a demolition derby on weaponized big wheels. And I'm pretty sure we just gave them both to the Batman.
Yeah, I kind of remember arguing for J&J Arms a lot and Batman winning, so...
Yeah.
Interesting. Who do you think would be better at...
I'm sorry, you know what? Because the other one was killing Superman. We had 3 because we had a tiebreaker.
Oh, so J.J. Abrams won one.
He killed Superman. That was our reasoning. Looking back, I don't know how we came to that conclusion.
I probably had some good arguments in there. Who knows?
There was some solid stuff going on. So our reigning champions, the Batman, is he going to be able to illegally cross the border better than Wolverine?
I think Wolverine's more apt to bending the rules. Batman has laws that he lives his life by.
I mean, it's just the
He's
one.
got morals.
Though. It's just the don't kill people one.
I'm sure he went through immigration when he came back from the mountains, wherever they were.
But Batman could just Bruce Wayne and just give him a bunch of money.
And just like bribe his way across. It would have to be a bribe for him to technically illegally cross the border.
That's what I'm talking about. He'd be like, yo, here's, $100,000.
And he'd be like, yep, there you go.
Or let me get in my bat plane and just fly across. I mean, come on. He's Batman.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of arguments for Wolverine, and most of the time he would beat anybody out. In this situation of illegally crossing the border, but I think I'm going to have to give it to the Batman again.
Right? He's just too good, man.
He's too good. Wolverine has the speed and he can regenerate himself, but Batman's got all them gadgets and all that money.
Like, they could
when
both
it comes
get it
to
done.
crossing the border illegally, some of the things that it takes are gadgets and money.
Yeah. Wolverine could do it, but it would be a lot messier, is one thing to think about.
Oh,
Batman
definitely.
has multiple options, and he would make it happen. Come on. All right, so what was the other one?
The next predicament is in America's Next Top Model runway challenge.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Well,
I mean, just off the bat, I feel like Edward Scissorhands has a better eye for style.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, Wolverine's been wearing the jeans and the wife beater forever, and if it's not that, it's yellow spandex.
Yeah, and Logan will be all like grumpy about it.
Yeah, I mean, that costume is so ridiculous they don't even put it in the movies.
Definitely.
Just think about that.
Yeah, man. Edward Scissorhands is bringing some fresh, challenging new styles to the table. Could see him working it real good.
I could see it happening too. And also, I mean, not saying that Hugh Jackman isn't, a good-looking guy. He definitely is. But Johnny Depp is like the heartthrob for decades. And Edward Scissorhands is like young Johnny Depp. I mean, he's
Heartthrob across generations.
for reals. There's like mothers and daughters both obsessed with Johnny Depp. It's weird. It's really creepy, actually. Because that guy's like 50. I think it's Edward Scissorhands. I feel like he'd also have like a little more style going down the runway.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Wolverine wouldn't put up with it. He'd be like just...
Yeah, just being a grumpy old man about it.
Now... yeah, there's really no argument here. It's got to be Edward Scissorhands.
I don't see Wolverine taking this in any situation.
No, I don't. He's a wild animal, and you can't have a wild animal walking down a runway.
Down the catwalk.
He's a Wolverine, not a cat.
Well, that's a true fact, David. I think you hit the nail on the head on that one, David.
But could it be a bat for a cat walk?
The bat walk.
Yeah. Ba-na-na-na.
Batman's suit's pretty nice.
Yeah. And we're talking Batman. Like, he couldn't do it as Bruce Wayne, right?
No,
like,
yeah.
He'd have to walk down as Batman.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then he'd give away his secret identity.
And is Bruce Wayne really picking out his own clothes? Does he have a stylist? I don't know how that situation's going down.
I mean, I imagine Bruce Wayne just pays someone for everything.
Right? Somebody just buys his clothes
like
for him.
Alfred has to go shopping.
Can you imagine Alfred just like trying to remember what pants? No, Alfred knows what pant size he wears.
I've been dressing Master Bruce since he was a young boy.
He still puts on his underoos at night.
Oh my! It's got the Batman written on all his underwear.
Do you think Alfred tucks Bruce Wayne in at night still?
When do you think he stops? A better question. Was he like 17?
Like 37.
Well, if you think about like different lores of Batman, he was gone for a lot of his adolescence training to be Batman. So,
well, that's why it's so special now that he's
stopped.
back.
Yeah, he definitely was
like their
tucking
thing.
little Dick Grayson in though.
Oh. Wow, that was an insinuating. Half grunt, half sigh, David.
It was really a as like a sound. It was like a presumptuous I think
A presumptuous
yeah, a little more presumptuous than that
Honestly, just feel Edward Scissorhands taking it on this one, man. You saw him sculpt those bushes into beautiful animals. He's got the artistic
grace.
eye. Yeah, definitely.
He would just float down.
Just bits of fabric flying everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
It would be a glory to watch.
Tim Burton should do a movie about like Next Top Model and just have all the different like Beetlejuice.
Batman would be hacking away at the fabric with his batarangs and
Batman too. I didn't even think about that. That honestly went over my head until you said that. That's crazy. It's got to be Michael Keaton Batman in this version.
Ooh, I like that.
Since it's up against Edward Scissorhands.
Well, that only logically makes sense.
Yeah. Whoa. I'm sorry, my mind is being blown right now. We made a connection, like not on purpose. It just happened by the roll of the dice. So Edward Scissorhands wins this one, and Batman won the last one. Who's our reigning champ, man?
I think we have another tiebreaker, David.
So do we just not... Are we just keeping Wolverine out of this one because he's not in the tie at all? We just need to settle this between Edward Scissorhands and Batman, or what?
Oh, interesting, because it's a three-way tie. Everybody won one.
Well, Wolverine didn't... Well, he did.
He did.
But then
he
Batman beat him in the second one.
Oh, true. That's really the face-off that matters. So it's
Yeah.
really only a tie between little Eddie Scissorhands and the Batman. You want to get us that tiebreaker predict, David?
I'm looking. Do you have the predict jar on your side?
I definitely do not have the jar on my side, David. What did you do with the jar? David, what have you done?
I spilled it and threw them all away.
David, you've ruined us. Ruined, I say. Ruined! Ruined. We're looking. I'm just going to go ahead and narrate what's happening in the room. David's looking around in amazement. Had these jars just a few moments ago. How on earth could he have lost them? I never had them in my hands, for the record.
I'm pretty sure you had the predicament
I
jar in
reached
hand.
every time.
I found it. My phone was leaning against it.
My goodness.
It was right in front of my face.
It could not be this. My phone naturally just leans this way all the time.
Frank did it. All right. Edward Scissorhands or Batman?
Yeah, we're all waiting, David.
It just says Smash Bros.
Smash Bros. Is that an intoxicated Alexis one?
No, I'm pretty sure this is mine. It looks like my handwriting.
Would you care to elaborate?
You know, I'm going to say who would win a video game round of Smash Bros.
Which Smash Bros?
Not if they are Smash Bros characters. Well, if this is a competition, it's got to be Melee. Let's just be honest. Is there another choice?
How many stock?
3 stock. No
3
items.
stock. What stage?
I would say Final Destination, but that's a pleb answer.
Now, are they players playing as already existing characters in Smash?
Yeah,
or
I think so.
Are they the players playing as themselves as the character?
Like Batman and Edward Scissorhands as Smash Bros characters. This could go either way. I guess I was kind of anticipating that both of these people would be real who got this one. So I don't know. We just got to make a call right now. Are they going to be playing Smash Bros as Batman?
It's judgment call time.
Okay, well, here we go. Here's the easiest way to settle this argument right off the bat. We could argue both sides really quick, because if they're playing like they have the controllers in hands, Batman wins, because Edward Scissorhands would chop the controller up.
I'd just be all just... Oh, yeah, David, that's a really good point.
There's no way he could play Smash Bros.
There's no way that you have to finesse an N64 controller.
Yeah. Or
Oh,
if he's
well, I
playing
mean, it's a
GameCube.
GameCube controller, yeah.
Either one, though. He's going to chop it up in little bits. It's not going to happen.
Just cut that cord.
Smash Bros. is, you gotta move all over the controller. You gotta use all the buttons. It's not like playing Pong or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, if they were characters in Smash Bros.
Yeah, because I feel like they'd be different classic characters. Like, it would
Yeah.
be strength versus speed.
Yeah, like I feel like Edward Scissorhands would be a faster character with maybe like like a lot of close range attacks because that's all he's got. Whereas Batman would have maybe like mid speed, but the gadgets, man, the gadgets would be intense. He could be throwing batarangs. His final smash could just be like running him over with a Batmobile. It'd
Just
be
seeing a lot of
ridiculous.
Samus type stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Spamus type stuff, just like spamming him hard, man. Just chip damage on him. Because really, if you think about it, if it's like they're Smash Bros. Characters, it's asking who's gonna win in a physical fight. It's got to be Batman. I mean, I hate to sound like I'm just picking Batman all the time. I know.
I hate voting for him, but your argument makes so much sense.
You're the one who chose him to be a superhero, though, Frank. You're the one that
David,
said
Batman's
Batman is
not a superhero.
That's what you said.
I'm going to go on record right now.
I'm just going by what you said, Frank.
I misspoke. My name is Frank Christopher Abadaka. I am of sound...
Christopher nerd.
Yes, I am a sound mind and body, and I am under no duress. Batman is not a superhero.
When Frank sends me this edit, I'm just gonna
He's just gonna cut that out.
I'm gonna put out Batman is, and then cut the not out. Batman is a superhero.
Batman is a superhero.
There we go. I got what I needed.
Oh no.
So Batman takes it again. Reigning champ,
the
Dark
Batman.
Knight.
Well, he's Michael Keaton Batman now. He reverted to Michael Keaton Batman during our Project Runway or America's Next Top Model.
Yeah. He's not the peep we deserve, but he's the peep we need right now.
You know, and you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need, David.
Yeah. And by need, it's the Batman. Bam.
Pow.